You won't believe how quickly a lifetime of calm can unravel. One morning in March, after 12 peaceful years, I got a letter from the HOA demanding I move my boat. Just like that. My boat, neatly parked at the marina, well cared for, used casually for occasional fishing trips. Nothing flashy or neglected. Yet suddenly it was an aesthetic disturbance, negatively impacting property values. My first reaction: I laughed, genuinely out loud, as I sipped my coffee at the kitchen table. The audacity! But laughter faded into disbelief fast, because no one who had paid fees diligently and kept their place tidy should be blindsided like this. I went down to the marina immediately. It was a gorgeous morning, that crisp Florida breeze reminding me of why I'd settled here. I looked at my boat, freshly painted in clean white with blue trim, sitting in slip 23. It looked just fine. I scanned the other slips: fishing boats, pontoon boats, sailboats, even a couple of small yachts that dwarfed mine. Some were older, some neglected. Yet for some phantom reason, mine was labeled the problem. I circled the docks for 20 minutes, genuinely trying to see what everyone else was apparently seeing. Nothing screamed out. Then again, I wasn't exactly on Aesthetic Standards Committee, whatever that was. Inside the marina office I found Angela Brooks, HOA president. Perfectly coiffed, designer handbag, clothes that screamed board meeting, even when she was just collecting junk mail. She greeted me with a practiced smile that didn't reach her eyes and said something about the letter, the vessel, and visual dominance. I stayed calm and asked, as reasonably as I could, what made my boat different. She launched into vague territory. It visually dominates, evokes imbalance, disrupts harmony. Community vision and spirit matter more than technicalities. Her justification: the spirit are the letter. I told her fine, then rewrite your rules. As it stands, there's no documented rule against my boat. She mumbled about enforcement. I noticed the signage around the marina. Generic. Corporate, nothing HOA branded. No logos. It all looked off, too professional for a community-run space. Angela stormed out. I stayed behind, inspecting dock signs, property lines. Something didn't fit. I spent days combing public records, county property data, HOA documents from the early 1990s. The marina wasn't listed as HOA property. Instead, county records showed it was owned by Coastal Properties, LLC, formed 2 years ago. The timing matched Angela's 3-year tenure as HOA president. That caught in my brain. It didn't add up. I dug deeper and discovered the owner of Coastal Properties was Hannah Brooks, Angela's daughter. After 12 years, I'd never even heard her name. Suddenly, her urgency to maintain community standards made sense. It wasn't about aesthetics, it was a side hustle. Create an aesthetic problem, then swoop in with a private solution. I emailed Angela with a simple line: "Interesting family business you've got going here," attaching the docs. Her response, within 2 hours, was panicked. Accusations that I was harassing her. Threats to call authorities. Meanwhile, I'm just pointing out public records. She turned them into a threat. My next move: request a formal HOA board meeting to discuss ownership, fee allocations, and responsibility. I copied all board members. Neighbors reached out, curious, concerned. My email ignited questions. At the meeting, I laid everything out: HOA docs, incorporation papers, timelines. Angela doubled down. Even if her daughter owned the marina, the HOA could still enforce community standards. Her tone was condescending, but that voice cracked when one of her own, Jim Patterson, quietly said, "This doesn't add up." The tension in that room shifted instantly. Angela's blocking confronted with her own board's doubt. Next, I got a cease and desist letter from McCoy & Associates legal team, ordering me to stop my defamatory accusations. Not a denial of the facts, mind you, just a demand to shut up. I escalated. I filed complaints with the Florida Licensing Board and a county probe into HOA fees paid for services on property the HOA didn't even own. I organized my evidence, not just for me, but so officials and neighbors could follow the logic. Business papers, board minutes, property transfers. Then I found the gold buried in the 1992 neighborhood planning documents, a 20-foot public access easement through the marina area to Lake Harmony. It was never abandoned. That meant no matter who owned the marina, residents retained their legal right to access the water. Angela and Hannah had no authority to privatize the lake or restrict boat access. I found a way to transform theory into action. Using my contractor's marine license, I applied for an emergency dock safety inspection permit. With my credentials, the county granted it in 24 hours. Armed with official notices, inspection permits, and a clipboard full of documentation, I cordoned off the marina with standard yellow caution tape. Just like that, the marina was shut for safety reasons pending inspection. Everything stopped. Weekend plans evaporated. Parties, fishing trips, family outings, all canceled. A single document triggered chaos. Angela called county officials in a panic, but regulations were on my side. My permit was legitimate. Her position unraveled further. Meanwhile, neighbors flooded me with calls. What fees have we been paying? For services on property we didn't control? They wanted answers. Meetings, refunds, public audits were suddenly on the table. On Monday, the county inspector arrived and escalated from inspection to full investigation. No business license, no insurance, zoning violations, faulty docks, lack of environmental permits. Hannah had been running a commercial marina illegally in a residential zone. This wasn't just shady, it was unlawful. Suddenly, what began as a local HOA conflict became a regional scandal. I connected more dots. Multiple communities where the Brooks duo, with McCoy and Associates, executed similar schemes. Manufactured crises, takeover of community assets at bargain prices, complaints about aesthetics, legal threats. I passed the information to local press. Within days, the front-page headline read, HOA Power Grab. Mother-daughter profiteers exposed. Community outrage exploded. Attendance at HOA meetings maxed out. The vote of no confidence was overwhelming. Residents demanded audits, restitution, and Angela's resignation. That evening, she stepped down. No apology, just resignation. Over the next 6 months, criminal investigations were launched. Wire fraud, breach of fiduciary duty, conspiracy. Assets were frozen. McCoy and Associates were sanctioned ethically, fined, and forced to fund a victim restitution program. Hannah lost the marina property, sold back to the HOA at the original purchase price, with added penalties and restrictions on any future involvement for 10 years. The new board instituted transparent practices, financial audits, open meetings, public reviews. I received a settlement covering my legal costs, punitive damages, and official acknowledgement of wrongdoing. But more than money, the community regained trust. My boat stayed safe and properly docked. Marina rules shifted to real concerns: environment, safety, not manufactured intent. On the day Angela's moving truck rolled away, I was working on my boat. We locked eyes for 10 seconds, no words, but I saw defeat, anger, and resignation. That moment spoke volumes. Justice wasn't about revenge, it was about exposing abuse and restoring fairness. That evening, I sat on my deck, watching the sunset over Lake Harmony. Families were fishing, kids were laughing, neighbors waved. The marina pulsed with life, renewed by honesty and community spirit. What did I learn? Kindness doesn't equal weakness. Silence isn't submission. The best fight isn't loud, it's smart. Justice isn't revenge. It's exposure, process, strategy. And when you stand up, you don't just defend yourself, you empower others to stand too. So now this story's yours. What would you have done? Walked away quietly or dug in and exposed the fraud? I'm curious. Drop your voice in the comments. If this story struck a nerve, hit like, subscribe, share it far and wide. Real life isn't always scripted, but sometimes it writes the most unbelievable dramas.